Being a global citizen is easier than it's ever been. Or is it? For the purpose of my talk, I'll be defining global citizenship as the idea that one's identity transcends geography and political borders. The world is large and expansive. We have 5 oceans, 7 continents, 195 countries, 6,000 different languages being spoken by 7.5 billion people. Humans are everywhere, and most of us are very different. Or are we? Biologically speaking, most humans have close to no significant difference, only 0.1% genetically. Really, it boils down to culture. Each nation has its own distinct culture that makes it unique and separate from other countries. But with the interconnectivity that we all share, are these distinctions still being maintained? Are people still isolated by the forces that allow these distinct cultures to rise in the first place? Do these forces still hold? Or are we on a bullet train to one homogeneous culture, a giant global melting pot? Look at language. 1.1 billion people speak Mandarin, and 983 million people speak English. Now let's assume that around 200 to 300 million people speak both languages. That's still 1.7 to 1.8 billion people who you'd be able to communicate with if you spoke those 2 languages. And that's just 2 of the most commonly spoken languages. 13% of the world's population is trilingual, and 43% are bilingual. That means that more than half of the people in the world can speak 2 or 3 different languages. And language is a supremely useful tool. As Angela Carter said, language is power, life and the instrument of culture, the instrument of domination or liberation. Languages can be used to bridge the gap between races, nations, and cultures, and is currently being used as such. Look at the United Nations, a large organization that gathers countries and discusses global issues like border disputes or human rights violations. The knowledge of language and the quantity of languages mastered by a person is what differentiates an average global citizen from a competent one. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that speaking a widely spoken language like English or Mandarin can certainly be helpful. It can create many bridges and many opportunities. But not everyone's going to learn how to speak those languages. And that's fine. Linguistic diversity is what keeps cultures alive. But in the situation of being a foreigner, an expat, a tourist, a global citizen, it is our responsibility to overcome these language barriers or have some proficiency in local languages. My dad is a perfect example of a competent global citizen. When we moved to China in 2008, we couldn't speak Mandarin. We were very lost and a little confused. I remember there was one time we went to the market, and my dad wanted to buy chicken hearts, but it wasn't on display, and we couldn't find it. So my dad did the next most logical thing. This is what he did. He went to the clerk, then he did this. Tu-tum, tu-tum. And the clerk understood him. My dad didn't let the fact that he couldn't speak the language stop him from interacting with the locals. Living in China, I learned some of the deeper intricacies of Chinese culture. For example, the concept of a guanxi. Really, it's nothing too complicated. It literally translates to a relationship, and it's the idea of I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Nothing too novel. But it's the sheer importance of it in Chinese culture that makes it so intricate. I remember there were many times when foreigners would come and start living in China, and they wouldn't bother interacting with any of the locals or even learning a sliver of language. But there were many times when me and my family, who understood the concept, received help from the people the friends that we made through these guanxis. Let's look at it from a Western lens, though. From a Western lens, this concept can sometimes present itself as corruption or bribery, because sometimes it does a little bit more than help everyday inconveniences. But really, it's nothing like that. It's just an important part of their culture that makes their lives much easier. And from my experiences, learning even a fraction of a culture you've experienced can show that you're a very competent global citizen. because you're absorbing knowledge that is outside of what you already knew. Now, on the topic of gaining knowledge and absorbing information, look at education. International programs like the International Baccalaureate use the UN Sustainable Development Goals and other such programs to raise new and better global citizens. Learning different cultures, different histories, learning besides people who are different from ourselves can be truly eye-opening. And these eye-opening education programs can help break down some of the barriers that stop people from accepting themselves as global citizens. Barriers like sexism, racism, xenophobia, and bigotry. International education teaches us empathy, how to put ourselves in others' shoes. It teaches us international mindedness. It teaches us to care about different countries, different cultures, different communities. And it's crucial to making people realize that they are global citizens. Luckily, though, education isn't what makes or breaks a global citizen. Look at the social media. Anyone who has access to the internet is a global citizen. Now, do you have a Facebook account, a Twitter, Instagram, or any form of media where you can interact with different people? Then you are a global citizen. The internet provides a platform that connects people from all over the world. People from Peru connecting with people from India, people from Spain connecting with people from Indonesia. The internet creates boundless opportunities. Be it something as simple as sharing a cute cat picture or talking about your favorite shows, the internet helps create communities that ignore borders on a map. And it's this interconnectivity that the internet provides that are helping break down the borders of nations, divisions of people. Now, do you follow a celebrity online? It could be Instagram star or YouTuber, maybe just an actor and actress that's from a different country? And you're currently indirectly learning about a culture that is different from your own. And that makes you a global citizen. Don't worry, if you're still a little bit scared of accepting yourself as a global citizen, you're definitely not alone. Many famous people have proclaimed themselves as global citizens. Diogenes, Albert Einstein, Rihanna, Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, Gary Davis, Trevor Noah, Thomas Paine, and many, many more. Now, nations and nationalism dying would be a bit unfortunate in order to help create a unified Earth, let's say. But as Kylo Ren famously said, let the past die. Kill it if you have to. It's the only way to become who you are meant to be. Global citizenship opens the world to many opportunities. Less war, less hate, more empathy, more understanding between people. Growing up, I was part of many different cultures and have met many different people. I was born in Brazil, but I was raised in China. I've lived in Asia almost all my life, and I speak English as if it was my native tongue. I didn't know what a global citizen was, but now I'm a proud global citizen. And I think it's about time that you all admit that you're a global citizen too. Being a global citizen can make us truly united, one civilization. Civilizations have risen and fallen, but by admitting ourselves to being global citizens, we can make a civilization that will never die. Thank you.